So welcome all. We have another discussion about building your warm market. Now, for those of you that were at the training we recently did on for sale by owners, etc., that was another example of a marketing pillar that we can use to build our warm market. And if you recall, I reminded everybody before we even got into it that you got to remember to take care of your warm market first. And we're gonna go through and rehash, that whole discussion again, because it really is, at the risk of sounding redundant, it really is the foundation of everything. If you don't have your warm market in this business, you really have nothing. You've just got a sales job that you have to continue, and just like that guy in Greek mythology pushing the ball up the hill every day, every month, every year, forever. And I don't like the sounds of that. So let's just dive right into this. Okay. So here's the objective with building your warm market, and I love this visual because it's, if you recognize it, it's the Parthenon in Greece. And if you look at the building, it stood the test of time because there's multiple pillars. And so here's sort of the end, the first stage of the end result, and that is build up a VIP list of 500 people. And when we talk about a VIP list, we're talking about people that know you, that is permission-based. In other words, they've said, hey, we know you, we like you, we'll work with you, we're happy to refer you. It's not just downloading a database, because anybody can get a database. But it's really working that, because here's what we know. Even starting from scratch, anybody can do this in 12 months. And most of us have a head start because we already know a couple hundred people, statistically. And when we look at some of the marketing systems that we can implement, then it just really makes our job that much easier, because our objective is this: to get a 10% return on investment, ROI, on 500 names, which is 50 deals annually. Some of you heard this for years now, and hopefully this will start to penetrate. And really it should be, relatively zero marketing cost. It's not quite zero. I mean, you're still going to, buy a referral gift here and there, but it's relatively inexpensive compared to, farming techniques or generating leads with websites online or any kind of print advertising. It really is close to zero, and really the return is infinity, because if somebody's referring you a deal, you're paying the referral gift out of the commission, so you're not really even investing anything up front. It's on the back end. So that's really the goal here. And if I were you, I'd print out this slide and I'd have it pasted on your wall in front of your computer. When you wake up in the morning, this is what your objective is: to get to the Parthenon, to get to that list of 500 people that will feed you forever, guys. And the right mindset is correct, because I met with a first-time buyer couple last week, for example, and you never know who's going to turn into that raving fan that can refer you 5 or 6 or 7 deals. So we treat everybody with respect. Our objective in every meeting and every interaction is to exceed expectations. We're always thinking long-term. And long-term is not just from our perspective or their perspective. It really has to be both. It has to be a win for the clients. It has to be a win for us, okay? And if you haven't already picked this book up, Raving Fans, I would pick it up and read it again. Just kind of gives you a little bit more of a discussion about the mindset, because, look at that little yellow button on the front of the book. Satisfied customers aren't good enough. You want wow. You want to look at what are the systems we can implement to get wow from our clients, from a marketing perspective, from a service perspective, from an interview perspective. So pick that up and read it again and again and again. And let's talk about the mindset. Because you got to remember, most people prefer to do business by referral anyways, because think about yourself. When's the last time you needed a mechanic or a movie or a restaurant? You typically ask your friends about, hey, do you know a good mechanic? Or if you went to a really, really cool restaurant, you'd mention it to people. Or if you saw a good movie, you'd mention it. So it's actually pretty natural for people to refer you if you generate the wow. And we have to focus on the lifetime value of a client. So I always talk about my friend Andrew, who started out as a first-time buyer. He called on one of my listings, and he went from, a $300,000 first-time buyer purchaser to, $100,000 in commissions after he bought several condos and referred 5 people, and then moved up and sold and, did all of these fabulous things, right? But that wouldn't have happened if I didn't have the right mindset to begin with, if I didn't provide exceptional service, and if I didn't use a system for generating the referrals, if I didn't use a system to stay in touch, to to keep posted. Now, I genuinely like this guy. We became buddies. So, once a year we end up having a beer. Hey, it's that time, man. I haven't seen you in a while. Let's have a beer. I would buy the beer this time. He would buy the beer next time. When his baby was born, he's my buddy. I went to see the baby. So it's not a fake thing. It's not pretending to like people. And some people you're going to like more than others, of course. But you got to have a system to remind yourself. Yeah, think about it. Every one of us, I think, has a really good friend that we probably haven't seen in a while and would like to. So I've set up, I've got my list of 5 best friends, and this has nothing to do with real estate. I've got my 5 best friends, and some of them are different areas of the city, and I have an alarm set up every 90 days to stay in touch with these guys. So I have a system for my life, not just for my business. And when we talk about business people, you have to think about, how do you give referrals? Because I'll tell you, my accountant is an amazing guy, an amazing source for business, because I'm constantly referring him for accounting services, and it's just natural for him to remember and refer me because I'm giving referrals, I'm expecting to get referrals, and they just come in. So what is the right system? Again, you got to have the right CRM software. Outlook is not it. Excel spreadsheet is not it. We use Top Producer. If you want to use something else, it's up to you, but that's what we're using. And if you're using the same platform we are, then we can work together and coach you on the right, the right way to use it, how to implement plans, etc. You need to organize your database, and we'll talk about how to categorize people. And you need to keep detailed notes. So, for example, I met with that first-time buyer couple last week. She's a French translator. He's an engineer. He was referred by a client of mine. I put all of these notes in because you know what? 6 months from now, if they haven't done anything 6 months and the note pops up, the alarm pops up, call Billy and Mary, I won't remember who the heck they are unless I have the detailed notes. And I've got the system to send them a monthly letter. I've got the system to make calls every 90 days. And I've got the system with past clients to do an annual face-to-face at the very, very minimum. You may see people more often than that, but that's sort of the minimum standard, okay? And remember, great book called Up the Loyalty Ladder. Another book I recommend. Strongly suggest you pick it up and read it just to give you the right mindset. It's a process. People don't always come in and love you to death, right? So if you think about it, if you meet 100 people, there's going to be a couple that love you right away. There's going to be a couple that hate you right away, and then it's all the rest of the people in the middle, the other 96. It's a process. They're going to be prospects first, and hopefully they become customers, then clients, and then some will become raving fans. Some are already friends and family. Some are potential business partners. But you're looking at all of these people in your pipeline, your entire sphere of influence, for another way of describing it. And our job is to stay in touch from a social perspective and also from a personal and professional perspective. So with our friends and family, we're staying in touch on a personal level. With our clients, obviously, we'll build relationship with some of them, but we need to constantly remind them, hey, I'm in the business, and here's some valuable information about what's going on in the marketplace. So let's talk about the 3 types of clients, because as we go through, our job is not to convince anybody, but it's actually to sort through. So what's the client type number 1? Well, great clients. We've all heard this before. Great client is what? They're friendly, they're cooperative, they're qualified, they're nice, and they're ready to take action, and they're realistic, right? And they're loyal. They appreciate what we do, they'll stick by us, and they'll even introduce us to other people that want to buy and sell. That's a great client. Some of us are working with this person, fun but hopeless. And fun but hopeless is what? Well, you know what? They might be nice, they might be cooperative, but they're not motivated. They need to look at 57 homes, or they want to list their house for $200,000 over value. They're not really qualified. They're not really motivated. And sometimes you got to learn to walk away from fun but hopeless and just move on, because you think about all the time you waste. Great clients don't take up a lot of time. Think about it. It's the fun but hopeless that demand the most attention, take the most time, and you end up working for 10 bucks an hour for fun but hopeless, if not $0 per hour. And then the last category is this person. They don't see the value in what you do. They don't want to commit to you. They don't want to list. They don't want to pay commission. They don't trust anybody. This is the kind of buyer that wants a 5-year forensic analysis of a market study for the neighborhood. What did this guy pay for his house 25 years ago, which is irrelevant. All of those signals that come out. So as you're interviewing people as potential candidates for your database, think about this. Wouldn't you want only great clients in your database? Wouldn't that be a nice life and a nice business? I mean, just think about that. So Our job is not to sort, not to convince rather, but to sort through and choose only the great clients. I know sometimes it's tough because if you don't have enough business on the table, if you don't have enough deals in the pipeline or active buyers or listings, it's tempting to work with one of these people, but try to resist the temptation because you could spend the time you're wasting with these people looking for a really good client. You know, we talk about some of us talk about not having enough time to prospect, to work the FSBO system or other marketing systems working on, and part of the reason is that we're spinning our wheels with some of the less than qualified people. So let's talk about current and past clients. Number 1, reconnect. Number 2, ask permission to stay in touch. We're going to give you a script in a second on what to do, and don't be afraid to ask for referrals because people are happy to, and here's one thing that you got to remember. A lot of people think that we're rolling in the money. They think we're rich. They figure, you know what, the market's strong, strong, strong. It's been strong for 20 years. Well, all of us must be making $500,000 a year because every time we sell a house, we make 6%, don't we? Those realtors that are overpaid, so don't be afraid to tell them, hey, you know what, whatever your angle on it is going to be, whether it's, hey, you know what, we're on track to be the #1 team in Canada. We need your help. We're on track to win a contest. There's a couple different techniques that different trainers teach. I'm just pretty straightforward. So listen, the way my business works is I work on referrals and introductions. I focus on my clients and people they know, and in return, I'm able to provide better service. Can you help me out and introduce me to, keep your eyes and ears out for me? For me, it just comes very naturally. I have no problem. Some of us get stuck right here because we're afraid to look needy or we're afraid of rejection. So be a little indifferent to rejection. Don't worry about looking needy because we are needy. We need the business. We need referrals. We need introductions. This is what we do. Don't be embarrassed about what we do, and don't forget to ask, and you need to do it on a regular basis. And we ask for referrals consistently and subtly by staying in touch because we're not top of mind. Our job, our careers, and our livelihood is not top of mind for everybody we know. In fact, they'll forget what we do most of the time. They'll be at parties, and they'll bump into people who talk about real estate, and they won't remember or think to call us because they don't know that we need the referrals, and they may not even remember, hey, oh yeah, that my friends Leslie and Jay are in the business. You know what? You should talk to them. They're really nice people, and they know their stuff. That kind of thing. So it's a system, and it's a process, and it's built day by day. So here's a very brief version of the script of one of the different scripts that we use for calling friends and family. Hey, it's Simon. This is a business call. I need a minute. Do you have a minute? Just wanted to touch base. Hey, we haven't talked in a while. And listen, I have a favor to ask. And the pause here is important. If say, ask anybody, I have a favor, and they'll say, yeah, what is it? Say, listen, business is good, but one thing we've noticed that by far our best business comes from people we know, people we've done business with. So we built a new marketing system, and I'd love to get your opinion on it. If it's okay with you, I want to add you to my VIP list, and I'd love your opinion on the mailers and emails. You'll get something in the mail every month or two, maybe a couple of emails a month. If it ever becomes an issue, I can take you off the list, but I'd really appreciate your input. Would that be okay? And unless they're creeps, they're going to say yes. Then you confirm their contact information. You put it in, and I'll show you on the second page. And listen, one more thing. Whenever you're ready to buy or sell, are you really comfortable working with me? Because if they have a cousin in the business or they just started dating somebody who's in the business, you want to know, and you want to know now, because there's no point marketing to these people, making them uncomfortable if they're not going to work with you or refer you anyways. So ask the tough questions, and most of the people say, yeah, of course, you're my guy, no problem, okay? You fill in the information, all the contact information, you ask for their birthday, and if they're not a friend or family, if they're a past client or if they're a networking contact, put down the source so you remember if somebody introduced you who they are. I would put down any notes, like what they do for a living, what their hobbies are, any little information you have, their kids' names. I would immediately send a thank you card with 2 business cards included. Thanks for helping me out. Here's 2 cards, one for you, one to give away. And a really cool little thing that gets a giggle out of people is I include a lotto ticket for $2. And I staple it to a $1 million listing, and it just says, hey, call me when you win. And everybody calls me back, say, wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I've got your card. Thanks again. Okay? You add it to the CRM. You add to social media. Look for them on Facebook. Look for them on LinkedIn. Add them. So this way you can see what's going on. So you're coming at them with from a couple different angles. And people often ask, how do I use Facebook? Well, connect with all your clients. Make sure they see you and you see them. Okay? Now you've got people in the CRM system. Now one of your jobs is to sort and qualify. So we walk them through, and I'll give you the categories. Walking up, a raving fan is somebody who refers you on a regular basis. Now somebody could be a raving fan, but's never really done a transaction with you. It could be your friend Johnny, it could be your cousin, it could be a prospect that refers you. So they could actually be multiple categories. But a raving fan is somebody who refers you people. Now, whether they've done a deal, whether the person they referred you has done a deal or not, they're still a raving fan. They've gone out on a limb and they've introduced you to somebody. A client is somebody who has done a transaction. They've closed on a purchase or sale or both. Okay? A customer is somebody who is in process right now. You're looking at properties. You've met with them. They've signed buyer agency, or they've signed a listing agreement, or they've signed to look for an investment property. They're a customer. Prospects are people that are currently thinking about buying or selling. They're, another word for them is leads. And all your prospects are the people that have actively said, hey, I'm thinking about buying or selling in the near future. Now, prospect, again, could be multiple people. It could be a friend who's now mentioned to you, hey, you know what, I'm thinking about buying. They now in your CRM are categorized as both a friend and a prospect. Because sometimes you want to send an invitation out. Let's say, you want to really treat your raving fans. You want to invite all the raving fans, but they could be raving fan clients, raving fan customers, raving fan prospects, raving fan your Aunt Mary, right? So you want to invite them, let's say, to a special brunch where you're treating everybody to brunch. You can sort by that list and stay in touch with them. You can also run a plan in the CRM to run regularly scheduled emails and follow-up calls and visits and so on. And then, of course, you want friends and family in one category and business partners. Now, what's a business partner? Business partner is, either a mortgage broker or an insurance broker, someone who we call a connector, who also does business and is also looking for referrals. So my car sales guy, for example, could be a business partner because he works with a lot of people. He's always looking for referrals. And I say, listen, I'm going to refer you people. You refer me people. Are we good with that? Great. I refer him 4 or 5 people. He hasn't referred me anybody yet. Well, I'm going to give him a call and say, hey, bud, what's going on? I've referred you 5 people. I need you to get, watch my back, keep an eye out for people, have my business cards at your desk, engage that conversation. You're often going to hear about those situations. I need you to help me out. And you need to coach those people on how to send you a referral. It's not just passing out your business card. If we're talking about a business partner, how I coach them to do this is really simple. I say, look, if you bump into somebody, what I need you to do is ask permission, and if it's okay with that person, send me their contact information, and I will follow up. Because I think most of us have probably heard about somebody said, hey, I mentioned your name to somebody. Did they buy a property yet? And you're like, what? I don't know. What? Nobody called me, that kind of thing. They may be uncomfortable. They may lose your card. They're not as motivated to follow up. So train your little warm market army, I call them, on how to introduce you, how to refer you. Okay? And in terms of building relationship, focus on them first. Think about what they need. A lot of the marketing that realtors do, I just laugh at, because it's talking about the realtor's life and their dog and maybe a realtor sailing. Focus on them. Try to give information that's valuable to them. And you have to use the system to do it consistently. You have to do a monthly mailer to stay in touch. And we're going to reintroduce a different format of a monthly mailer that's really personalized, that includes discussion of something personal, something in the news that relates to real estate, and also calls to action, excuses to get them to call you either for information about buying or introduce to somebody. And we'll be launching that in the next few weeks. We're doing educational seminars, as we all know, on a regular basis. So think about, what are the opportunities that you could dig up to do seminars. For example, I remember selling a condo a couple years back to somebody with an architectural firm, and they had, about 100, 150 people in the firm. My client introduced me to their boss. Their boss was also interested in buying. But we mentioned that we do educational seminars, and we'd be happy to do a lunch and learn, for example. So we ended up doing a lunch and learn at the office, 400 employees. Like 30, 40 of them showed up. We got 4 or 5 people that were ready to buy right away, because there always are a few people that are ready to go. And it's a lot of fun to do. If you need the content for what we talk about at the seminar, It's a PowerPoint email away. But don't ask me for the PowerPoint until you have a meeting, because there's no point just burying you with just stuff in your folder that you're not going to use. So just use this as a reminder to look at who do you know that works in a large office. Try to meet the manager or the business owner or the senior HR person. Try to get in the door that way and get an educational seminar going. Social events are fantastic because we do, let's say, on average once a year, a social event for my clients where we'll go to a restaurant, we'll go to a lounge somewhere, and we'll say, look, everybody's invited to my party, and it's not a Royal LePage party, it's not a real estate center party, it's Simon's party, and it's just an excuse to get together for the holidays. I don't call it Christmas, I just call it a holiday party, and you know what, in the spirit of the holiday feeling, everybody bring an item of clothing for the shelter, or bring some food for the food bank. Everybody shows up, and this way you get to see everybody en masse, and everybody has a couple of drinks, and it's all very happy, and it kills two birds, and I actually have fun. Think about, part of your business is to have a social event, to have a social life, and maybe do this twice a year. It's a rough life, guys, but somebody's got to do it. And then finally, you got to call, you got to visit, you got to do the annual reviews. And advocate lunch is also a great idea. The advocate lunch we've been doing for years. So let's say John is your client, and then he refers you to Jim, who buys a place. I take both of you out for lunch. And let's say Jim refers me to somebody else. I'm going to take all three. I'm going to work back that chain. How did this start? How did I meet the third person? Well, the second person introduced me. First guy, John doesn't know them, but invite him anyways. And just take everybody out for lunch and create a little lunch chain. And people love this stuff. It's just another excuse to reconnect. And business partners, don't be afraid to be a little bit more proactive in this area. You can actually either create your own business group, or you can join organizations like BNI.com or LaTip. Network marketing companies are also a great opportunity. Usually a very positive environment, a lot of people there from many different walks of life, and you can actually use that as a networking opportunity. So not necessarily to go in there to create another business, because I don't want you to get distracted, and that's probably the mistake that many people make, is they get involved, and I've done this myself, get involved in other things. Hey, I may make some money here and some money here. You got to focus on the one thing, but use it as an opportunity to network, okay? And there's also business partners in your farm area. You got to use, and you got to use the guerrilla marketing approach. And what I mean by that is come at them with a little different approach. Talk to them about promoting them. Create a little area newsletter for your farm that promotes all the local business. And the mayor approach is really simply, go around and shake hands and kiss babies. Create a newspaper-style mailer to promote what you're doing. And zero cost can simply be, you're printing the flyers, you're putting it out in the neighborhood, but you're asking people to promote your business. And as you get leads from it, it will eventually be zero cost. And if you want, you can also involve maybe a mortgage broker or an insurance broker or a lawyer or all of the above to share with the cost or even cover the cost if you're promoting their business in that area, okay? But the key to all of this is still to go belly to belly, 20 a day. In other words, talk to people if you're going to do this, and do this aggressively. But this is, again, another one of the potential pillars that you can have to build business for yourself. You got to choose wisely, and then you have to schedule it. You have to follow it through. I think probably the biggest mistake that people make in any of these systems is they just don't follow through. So do yourself a favor. Don't start any of these things unless you're going to follow through and continue with them. And finally, at the end of the month, track your numbers. Know what's going on with your database. What's the size of your database right now? How many names did you add this month? What's your new total? And then how many leads did you get? How many appointments did you get? How many deals did you get from your database, from your marketing system? So you can see what's happening in your database, so you can see what the conversion is, you can see the results. An exciting thing happens when you start to see results. You'll get even more excited. You'll put more energy into it. You'll get even better results, and it just dominoes. So here's your homework. A couple books. Pick up Raving Fans or Get More Referrals. Another book by Bill Cates, I believe it is, C-A-T-E-S, not Gates, the Microsoft guy. Cates, C-A-T-E-S. understand Top Producer. If you don't have it, get it. If you have it and you haven't used it, get involved. Roll up your sleeves. Figure it out. Call everybody on your list in the next 30 days. If you have 200 people, that's only 5 or 6 calls a day. Get that. Use the script that we've included and call everybody. And then look at adding 5 names a day every single day and create a simple monthly database scoreboard just like this one right here. Use it. Come back with questions and feedback. Let's discuss them at the next sales meeting and, build your warm market, guys. This is the key to this business. So get out there, get on it. If you have any questions, fire me an email and go talk to people and go sell something. Have a good day, guys.